Cave with Mike and Max.
Welcome here to the Chat Cave. As always, it's Mike, it's Blaximus here to finally talk about some uplifting stuff with Batman. We're not memorializing someone this time.
No, it's nice to just be able to be positive about, things that are happening and continuing to happen.
Yep, just overall. So this was, I honestly kind of forgot that this was coming down the way, because there was for a while that this show was in development, then they put it on hiatus, and then was it because they wanted to get Kevin involved, and he obviously passed away, and was that kind of a factor or not? I can't remember exactly.
I think I think his passing kind of threw a wrench into everything.
Mm-hmm. So they had to take a break from it and come back then.
Yeah.
And yeah, they just dumped the whole first season of Batman Caped Crusader on us like last week.
Yeah, and I was excited for this. Obviously, everyone involved as far as like the show running has there's another little cartoon series. I don't know if you heard of it, Batman the Animated Series. So pretty much everyone is the same crew involved in making this. So I was very, very excited for this new iteration of Batman, and I am still very excited. I don't want to give away too much before we get into it, but
Sure.
no, I was waiting on it, so like I wasn't surprised when it came out, but I was, I had that nervousness because obviously, like the clip you just showed, I didn't want it to just be good for 15 seconds and then
Yep.
done.
Only like a moment that you enjoy out of a whole series.
But it's so I had my eye on it because I've just been waiting on something Batman positive like that I can enjoy. I've been kind of falling out with Batman lately, just with a lot of the stuff that they've been putting out, and I haven't been as in love with the character as as times in the past. But like, so I was a little worried. But this is solid through and through. So I'm very, very happy, very excited.
So your creative team behind this, Bruce Timm obviously has a very heavy like influence on this show because he was the one who developed it. But then you also have Matt Reeves and J.J. Abrams being like executive producers on this. Then you got some regular DCAU people like James Tucker's there and things like that in the producer role. But yeah, this is, and I feel like absolutely we need to get this right out of the gate because I see a lot of this already as animated series is better. I'm like, well, it's apples to oranges at this point. It's like
and that phrase doesn't make any sense because fruit can
just
be
because
compared.
it's from Bruce Timm.
But like when someone does something amazing, when Babe Ruth calls his shot and cranks it out to that point, when you get a LeBron James or a Kobe Bryant, you don't expect everyone else to be that person. Like, not everyone can be Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is the only Michael Jordan. The animated series was so good. To expect that out of anyone ever again is stupid. Is just not. You can't get that greatness every time. That's not how it works.
Yep. This is its own thing, and I think it's all the better for it because it's a nice throwback. I mean, it is literally a throwback because it's taking place in the 40s. So it's got a really great like noir aspect to it. There's a little bit more influence of say like the Fleischer Superman serials there. Like the designs of the characters are a little bit more exaggerated even than they were in the animated series, and it's more focused on being like a down to earth kind of as down to earth as Batman can be, crime noir type thing. So
and I fully dig it. I wish they had a little more money.
Yeah,
you can tell
yeah.
in a lot of the animation where it's like, hey, like they did not have the full belief of the studio when they were doing this. I feel like,
It's part of my, and here's where I guess maybe a comparison to the animated series could be justified in that even back in the day when you had low quality Batman animated episodes in terms of the animation quality, at least you had in the back of your mind like, well, there's a lot of like hand drawn, they're obviously putting forth as much effort as they can for like a hand drawn animated show.
mhm.
Here it's kind of, it feels a little bit cheaper because it's all digital now and everything is, already kind of a pre-rendered thing, and you just put these models in there and so forth, that there's a certain liveliness and exaggeration in earlier shows like that, and then not just Batman the animated series, but like say the X-Men show from '92 and things like that. Like there's a certain kind of homespun quality, organic quality to the animation that I feel is kind of missing in more recent cartoons. And it's not just Cape Crusader; it's shows like Invincible. It's like Vox Machina. Like even though when they look good, but the movement is always very kind of
Yeah,
stiff.
and I mean, like in Invincible, they do make a nod towards it. They kind of
Yeah.
like in this last season, they were just like, yeah, like sometimes you got to play these funny tricks with animation just to save money, and like yeah, and you can see where yeah, it just looks a little bit cheap, especially compared to Batman animated series. But I'm like, just watching it for its own merits,
Right.
the animation it was not stellar, and it's not
Hmm.
bad, and I do like the art, but yeah,
Oh
you
yeah.
can tell they cheaped out in a lot of a lot of places.
The designs of the characters and the world I think are really good, and
Yes.
they lend themselves. And that's the thing, is like, from what I remember, when they designed stuff for for the animated series in the '90s and things like that, they wanted to say like, well, what design of a character is going to look best if it's like in really fluid movement and things like that.
Hmm.
And these designs look great. And when the movement is fluid, when there is like really dynamic stuff, because there are dynamic action sequences
Yeah.
and images and things like that that pop up in this show. It's just not as consistent, and that is my one big critique on the series overall, is the animation at times doesn't support like what's going on story wise or character wise as much. But it's very functional. It's functional animation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And again, as for like what they have been putting out recently,
Hmm.
this is it's on par with anything they put out recently, and it's the quality, the other the writing, the voice acting, all that other stuff brings it above what they've been putting out
Yeah.
recently. So yeah, I mean, like, if I gotta take a loss somewhere like that, I think they did it the right way.
Hmm.
But yeah, again, that would be my only major, like I was just like, wow, I wish that the studio believed in this more.
Yeah. No. I should we get into, I guess, talk about the overall arc of the series and the cast and things like that. Like,
Yeah, let's do it. I really liked, it was really interesting to me to see how they spun, like because they're doing the same Batman villains, but in a slightly different way a lot of times, and I really really liked that.
was there a standout for you in terms of a
Uh,
villain that was completely
Harley Quinn.
reimagined? Yeah, Harley.
Yeah, I thought that was super dope the way they did her. I really liked this Harley Quinn more than
Really? Yeah.
the original Harley Quinn. I like her more as a villain, and I
Nice.
like her villainy. Um, I think it gives her a lot more power,
Yeah.
and I'm also interested to see how they do a play with Joker.
If they,
Um,
yeah, if they end up intertwining those two in some
um,
story.
but yeah, no, it's I thought that was really really different, and I love the thought process, and I love the way they went with it. I really like that a lot.
I kind of like the flip they did with the character, where, well, I mean, I guess it's not really a flip because in other versions, Harleen has always kind of been a consistent through line in terms of the characterization. But here it's like Harleen Quinzel, and we're getting into spoilers here. Quinzel, the therapist, is like the bubbly personality, the very upbeat, outgoing personality. And then you get to Harley Quinn when she's in jester mode, and it is like subdued, quiet, and just unnerving, and it's really good. Like I like the turn, and I think the actor's name is it Jamie? Yeah, Jamie Chung.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
She
she
did.
does a phenomenal job
Yeah.
with the role.
She had a role in the last season of Dexter,
Hmm.
and I was like, okay, like this kind of reminds me of that sort of in like the role that she played. But yeah, she does do a really good like ha, 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 like I'm a peppy person, like everything can be fine,
Yeah.
like through therapy we can all get there. But
So if you're kind of like, there's Harley. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and then like her as Harley Quinn, like yeah, the villain. I was like, oh, like she's like diabolical. Like
Hmm.
it's awesome. So yeah, no, that was my favorite twist that they did on an old Batman thing.
I kind of liked the turn for Clayface.
Clayface is really good.
That was a
I
nice
agree.
deconstruction of that character, or kind of a rebuilding of that character quite a bit. Where in a lot of other media, Clayface is a shapeshifter or a big mud monster essentially. And here
Yes.
it's more like, no, he's the Phantom of the Opera. He's a straight up killer. Like,
Yes. No, and it was really, really good. And like they could even still do some of the like mud monster stuff.
yeah, I
And
mean they
it
did a look because his
yeah.
his face, like that one image, and again the animation. This is an aspect where like the overall design of it works well, but then when he like he's disguised as the doctor and gets punched in the face, and you see
Yeah.
the impression of the fist there. Like it's silly, but also it's kind of creepy too.
Mm. Yeah,
Like,
no, I dug Clayface for sure. He was like it's probably like my second favorite
mhm,
twist on the thing, but like like Harley just beat him out. But
yeah,
no, I was happy with it. I was like, wow, okay, this is cool. Like I really like the hey, like they're playing into Hollywood, in the 40s Hollywood and just like what being an actor would be like, and you get this guy who should have all the accolades and should be the
character
top
actor.
dog, but just because he's ugly, like that's.
Yep,
And I
villain.
like I like that better too than the original Clayface,
Hmm.
just because it's not really like his. He wasn't like a good looking guy before the thing happened, and then the thing happened, and he's like, oh, okay, I gotta do something to get back there. It's like,
Right,
hey,
right.
I've never had this, and it's been holding me back, and I need to overtake my face, and I think that's a better Clayface. I
Approach
really
to
do
him.
enjoy that. Yeah.
Well, it absolutely, I feel, fits this world's aesthetic where, again, everything is a lot more down to earth and grounded, given the fantastical elements, of course, but
Mhm.
it's all kind of geared towards more psychologically unhinged individuals, let's say, or more psychological storytelling. Because even
Mhm.
the more supernatural stuff, like when we get to Nocturna, Kid Nocturna later on in the series and stuff like that, even that stuff that has a supernatural element to it, or the Ghost Gentleman, like that does have more psychological kind of roots in it as well. Like
Mhm.
the Ghost Gentleman thing, it's about, oh my gosh, there's a straight up like, yeah, Ghost Gentleman goes back a century or so. He's a racist.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Full on raised. Yeah. Like that guy. I thought that episode was so good too. And was it Doctor Midnight?
Yeah. Yep.
Who they introduced in there too. So you're like, okay, this is gonna be a
Something.
thing. Yeah. And so I dug that. Yeah. And with this, I really love, yeah, just the more grounded Batman. He's not Justice Leaguean, he's not saving the world, like that, like that's what I really dig too. So like, yeah, it's yeah, even when they get supernatural, they get someone's got some stuff going on, but like it's still just like not they're not world beaters,
Right.
they're not like Thanos dropping down. So
Yeah.
I dig that for sure.
The stakes are much, much more closer and within,
Localized.
yeah, Gotham's orbit and Batman's orbit specifically.
Yeah.
Speaking of Batman, this guy's got problem. This Batman definitely is, I'd say, pushed to the limits in terms of like the most isolating Batman so far
Yes.
that we've seen in this
Yes.
media. Like even the Batman, even Robert Pattinson, um, he's there's he comes around a little bit more to warming to people as the movie progresses a lot quicker than this Batman does. Like Batman doesn't really have a connection with someone fully until like the last episode or so forth. He's just
Yeah.
kind of putting on performance for everyone else.
Mhm.
And I kind of like what they did with him in the Harvey Dent parallel where it just escapes his notion of how like what he does to try and bring Harvey back into the world is actually more triggering.
Right.
He
Yeah.
doesn't calculate that. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. This is what you humans do. Why aren't you getting over this whole your face is
Right.
messed up thing?
Like, what do you mean emotional trauma? Like, I don't understand. Like,
It's like, Bruce, you're the poster boy of emotional trauma.
He's like, huh?
But again, getting back to the psychological aspect of it too, it's like I kind of like that approach to this Batman because he's cold. He's cold for, like I said, 7/8 of this.
Yeah.
Show.
Oh, yeah. And even still, I mean, like, I don't think he's warmed up a little, but like that's just relative. You know, like he's still a cold guy. You know, like
He calls Alfred by his
finally
first
uses
name.
His first name. Yeah. Like,
Whoa, what a journey! But
one
it
of my
works.
favorite moments of the whole season though was Pennyworth. You're wasting my time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like that was the most Batman that he got the whole time. I was like, that's dope. It sent chills down me. I really thought Hamish Linklater did a really good job as Batman.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I was not sad about this Batman at all.
He's not trying to overcompensate in his voice at all. Like, you know, how certain actors,
Yeah.
I'm not wearing hockey, but like he's not trying to
For me!
it in a way. I mean, it's not, of course, it's not Kevin Conroy, but it's emulating a lot of, I feel, Kevin's sensibilities when he was approaching the character, where you just naturally go to a quiet place when you're Batman. You kind of put yourself emotionally in a quiet place and just let it naturally occur. And I feel that's what Hamish is doing with his performance.
I definitely, you know, because Kevin Conroy is always like, I do my voice for Batman and I make up the voice for Bruce Wayne.
Yep.
And I feel, you know, like however Hamish played it, like I felt more of that sort of take on it, and it just really helps the character a lot. You know, and there's still a noticeable difference between Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So you know, I thought he did a really good job.
I think his very reserved performance when he's Batman, because he spends a majority of the show as Batman basically, and then you know Bruce Wayne pops in here and there for like charity events or to take Harvey out to dinner. Faux pas right there, but yeah, he even when he's really quiet and reserved, just the amount of every time he calls Alfred Pennyworth, like just the amount of almost disdain in his voice when he says Pennyworth, like oh my god, dude,
you can tell he's doing that because Alfred is the only person he cares about.
Yeah,
he's trying to squash it.
Yep.
Like and that that I mean there's a lot, you know, because like they never say anything like that.
Right.
But you pick up on that a lot. I really liked it.
And of all the Alfred Pennyworths to get to cut your lip with on this, it's like this is the most undeserving Alfred out of all of them so far. Like you lose your cool at Michael Goff because he's just letting everyone into the Batcave and things.
Yeah,
this poor dude
paid tours of the Batcave at the by the time.
This poor Alfred, man, like he's asleep in bed and then wakes up and sees like this 8-year-old kid staring at him. He's just like, "You're gonna help me, Pennyworth. You're gonna help me make them pay." And it's like, what do you do? What do you say to that?
You call the
Child Protective Services.
Yeah, you call all the therapists with the exception of one Harleen Quinzel. You do not.
Like,
oh my goodness!
I kind of love this Alfred because he's just like well-to-do, you know, trying to be amicable and trying to, you know, he's patient as hell with what Bruce is doing,
and he's trying to bring him back from the brink.
Yeah,
and like because he knows like if he doesn't help him, he's gonna find someone else to do it.
Yeah,
and he knows that he's the only person who's experienced all of this with him, you know, to like, you know, to try to bring him back to some semblance of sanity. But yeah, you know, it's still a long
So
winding road.
they can get a couple of seasons out of that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see where the journey's going to take it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised because obviously a lot of the design aesthetics are taking influence from early Bob Kane, Bill Finger Detective Comics stuff. Like, Batman looks the way pretty close to the way he did in his first appearances, where he doesn't have like the gauntlets. He's just got like the little gloves and, you know, the kind of bigger but wavier ears and things like that. The last episode when he pulls the gun, I was like, oh, is he gonna get a holster for himself? Is he gonna go that route of like early Detective Comics, and next season he's gonna be packing heat? Like, geez. But no, that was like, ooh, that's an image straight from the 30s.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I dig it too. And you know, like there's still a little bit of the kind of Art Deco,
Yeah.
you know, flair to some of the things, but it's not like as prominent as it was in the animated series. But yeah, no, it's I definitely love the callbacks and just the overall style of it. Really, really works. Again, and if they can get some money, they can make it look really, really good.
Puff up that budget a little bit, and yeah.
But I mean, I feel like with season 2, they are going to get a little bit more to do.
I hope so.
More, you know, going on because it's good. So
I'm definitely interested in where the show goes from here. I did like the subversion of certain characters. I outright say it. I love Gal Penguin.
I had no problems with Gal Penguin.
It's Mini Driver. Mini Driver's awesome. So it's like,
yes, I obviously great talent in Mini Driver. I really liked the episode. I liked the showman Penguin.
The Iceberg Lounge is literally an iceberg, quote unquote, out in the harbor.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, no, it's I liked it. I was a fan of it. I know a lot of people didn't. My wife wasn't
the grift,
wasn't really on board, but
outrage grift.
Or no, you know, like some people are like.
I know some people might have legitimate like complaints about when you change a character that much, but I think it worked.
I liked it a lot. And you know, like I think that the mama gangster is always gonna play, you know, and I didn't mind Penguin at all. You know, she didn't really get.
She was in one episode.
In her episode, you know, so we'll see if they can develop her as a villain. You know, because I feel like she was a very like one episode of Batman villain in this one.
This season's definitely has the feel of, okay, let's test the waters. What are the characters that we feel are gonna be coming back that are gonna test well and we can get a lot of story out of? And so I'm sure she'll come back in some way, shape, or form, especially now that there's this whole, you know, we're going to put some pressure on the mob, and you can't have mob stories without, without the Penguin there, I feel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's, but I mean, like, I also, you know, wish, like, and with the Harvey Dent stuff being at the end of the season, and that's a lot of, like, mob activity, I feel like they could have put the Penguin in there somewhere, too.
At some point, yeah.
You know, it's whatever, and you know, like again, there's still a second season. So
speaking of Harvey, your boy Diedrich
Bader, voiced Batman in Batman the Brave and the Bold, which is a super fun take on Batman.
He does Batman for the Harley Quinn show. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, awesome. Yes. I still have not made it all the way through that. So, but yeah, it's I love Diedrich Bader. I love him. I love his voice. Office Space, he's the best part of it. But no, it was so good. He did a great job as Harvey Dent. Yeah, he brought a lot to that character, I feel.
I'm glad, because the cynical side of my brain when it comes to storytelling and when it comes to Bruce Timm and Barbara Gordon stuff is like, part of me was like, please don't make her and Harvey a thing. Like, I kind of like their dynamic just as it was in those last couple of episodes, where she's sort of, you know, she thinks he's a blowhard and things like that, but respects him to some degree for his skill in the law and stuff like that. And he doesn't want her to become too compromised in the world that he's found himself dragged into, and then scarred by, figuratively and literally. But I kind of like their pairing in the last couple of episodes, where basically they're on the run from him getting assassinated by crooked Bullock. And I mean, Flass is always a crook, but like Bullock, man,
geez. They have definitely leaned into that. And I'm hoping that he gets a like some sort of redemption arc where
out of the two of them, I was seeing sort of like over a couple seasons Bullock being turned around and stuff, even though he straight up murders people in this show.
And I mean, like, I am here for it. I really dig it. I like that aspect of the show. I really like the Gordon trying to clean up the precinct. Aspect of it is really, really cool. Flass is a villain. Yeah, I dig that guy. Like he's cold. He's cold-blooded, and I'm like this. He's calculating, and he's not just like a dumb thug.
Yeah,
and I really appreciate that, and I like that he has Bullock do the dirty work. Like he's like, oh, it wasn't me.
Yep, you shoot him.
No, the Firefly episode was a Firebug.
Firebug, yeah.
Firebug.
Different, it's a different character. But...
Firebug episode I thought was so good. Just because like it has a lot of like super awesome Batman moments, like Batman trapped in a building, like invaded by police, Batman in a building on fire, Batman
and Gordon having to work together for the first time in a way.
So I mean, like, it was just a lot of cool stuff, but then I mean, Flass and Bullock were really, really in that episode, and you see a lot of them.
The whole thing's their fault.
I mean, and like it's them clawing to get control of the task force, and them, but they did it, and Bullock ends up shooting Firebug at the end of it. But I was like, that's sad, because I did actually enjoy that Firebug character for the little that we got him, and I hate killing comic book villains. I can't stand it.
I was a little disappointed that, spoilers here, Two-Face had to go away at the end. I mean, I kind of got it, because that has to affect Batman on a significant level, and the other characters on a significant level, that next season they're gonna go in a different direction, obviously. But I was a little disappointed to see Harvey go. I mean, it's comics too, so he can be brought back.
I mean, he can be brought back, but
there's Dr. Midnight out there doing magic shit.
That's true. That's very, very true. But I mean, like, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like just having a thing that can bring anyone back, because it eliminates the stakes.
I don't think they will. Like, I'm sure they'll find a way to work in the presence of Two-Face. In some way, shape, or form.
And Diedrich Bader, I mean, like, that's just a waste. Why send that guy going after one season? Like, that's. But it sucks, but it's also great, because you're like, man, I wish they hadn't killed that guy. You want them to come back, like, you wanted more, and so like that just speaks to the quality of the.
I think that is kind of a through line with the show throughout, because there's a lot of hinting at things, which could either be like, oh, that's just a fun little cameo or homage, or down the line it could eventually mean something, and I like not knowing if it's going to be like, for example, it's the Nocturna episode.
Yes,
all those orphans.
All of the orphans are Robins. All of them.
All of them. You got Little Dicky. You got Jace.
Jason. And
he goes
Carrie.
by Jace, right? Yeah. You got Carrie. There was Steffi Brown, little Steffi Brown. Like, they were missing a Tim, but that's okay.
But it was so cool. I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing here. That Carrie was the one, like, she was the most proactive, with the slingshot.
Had her slingshot. I like that.
I dug that for sure.
The Nocturne, the whole Nocturna story, like, that was something Bruce Timm wanted to put into the original into the animated series, was Nocturna at some point. Like, he had designs for her and everything, like her and Black Canary were going to show up at some point. But I kind of like the way he reworked Nocturna for this. Just the Children of the Corn, played by McKenna Grace. Like, And her big brother's Haley Joel Osment from The Sixth Sense, which is
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really good. I liked, and poor Haley Joel ain't coming back for season 2 either,
Yeah.
but I liked that, that really heartfelt moment where, he's like, hey, like, save her, please. Like,
Hmm.
you know, it's very like Jesus, like, forgive them for they know not what they do.
That was echoes of Ace there
Yes.
from Justice League. There was
Mhm.
echoes of like Batman might be cold, but he's not about to like just let a kid die, even if that
Right.
kid is a soul sucker.
Literal soul sucker. Yeah, it was really good. That was a really good moment, I thought. And that was, I think, one of the first moments where you're like, oh, okay, like, all right, like I feel you, I'm with you. Like, this is a little deeper than, just because like, yeah, with a Penguin episode, that first one, that was full on Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah,
Like, I should have
big
had a
gun.
giant bowl of cereal. Like, yeah, like, just yeah, big
And then,
gun. No,
and then he
no
got like
character
frivolous
development.
light adventures. Like the Catwoman episode is a pretty light adventure in comparison to
Yeah,
the rest of the show.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But I mean, I dug Christina Ricci as Catwoman.
Hmm.
I really enjoyed that. She's a great actress, so that's that came through.
I did like the
But
karma
yeah,
of her maid basically being like, "Yeah, I sold
I
off all your
stole
stuff.
I stole everything from you.
Yeah, you're on your own, honey."
But like, why would you stay there for that long? Why would you do that? Like, what got me is like, who the heck is paying this lady? Like her dad's got money, right? But he's
Right.
not giving her any money. Why would you hang out for 3 years not getting paid? Like, what?
You need these
No.
eccentric characters who do things for non-logical reasons.
I was like, girl, you should have left like
Yep.
2 years and 8 months ago. Like, I don't know why you're hanging out here.
Well, I
But
think part of it's maybe like, she's got this. Miss Selena's got some talent. She might pull this off. No, she's not pulling it off. I'm out.
yeah, I mean, a year, okay? You give
A
him,
year.
you give him a year.
Yeah, sure.
3. I thought that was crazy, but no, like, yeah, it was a little lighter. It was a little, it wasn't like, there wasn't much murder. There wasn't much like anything really in that episode.
It was literally cat and mouse games.
Yeah,
and I'm all for that. Like, because
Yeah.
that's the thing. It can't just be a murder mystery every single episode. You
No,
gotta have
no,
some.
yeah, I dug it, and it's I like the spin on that Catwoman character too, where she's this big socialite, and like, everybody knows her name and
Yeah.
knows her to be a little sticky with the fingers, but then,
Yep.
then she, like,
Everyone's
decides to,
everyone is in everyone else's business in the show.
Yes.
I kind of love it, except for Bruce Wayne, because no one is allowed to be in Bruce Wayne's business.
he's unknowable, but
Actually, there's a lot of like great comic book writers on this show. Like the head writer is Ed Brubaker, who did like Winter Soldier, the original Winter Soldier run, and things like that. So
and that too fits a lot, I think, with the style that they're going for, just more of like noir detective aspect of Batman. Oh yeah, it's just a solid, great fit, and it's just a huge name. You're like, yeah, this is what we want to see. This is definitely what we want to see.
And you got also, I think, like Greg Rucka's on there. Mark Bernardin wrote an episode, I believe. J.M. DeMatteis is in there as well, and I believe he's written not just like for DC, but like some Marvel stuff as well. But it makes sense. You get like comic book writers in there. What's up?
No, it's just really funny that they put Mark Bernardin on the Gentleman Ghost episode.
I mean, oh yeah, given the whole, I mean that you definitely would have a perspective on being like, yeah, this character probably racist.
Oh no, that's too funny. But yeah, like they got some just what's the word I'm looking for? Just classic talent that has been in this world, has been writing in this world for a long, long time, and it shines through, and that's how they should be doing it. Like this, like this is a masterclass on what to do if you want to
Yeah.
make a cartoon or whatever about anything. Find the people who have been working in this field for a long time, and they're going to make it good. Like that's a given.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know we sometimes go like, what do you feel is the strongest episode out of this first season? Which one is the strongest one for you?
The episode that resonated the most with me. Whew, that is a rough one. All right, I'm looking through the
listings.
Probably the Night of the Hunters, the Firebug episode.
Yeah.
It has, again, Batman and Commissioner Gordon's first team up. It's it shows Bullock and Flash at their worst or best, however you want to look at it. And there's just great acting. I really like the story from that one. So that was probably, I think, like I got the most from that episode.
It's up there with me too, just because I do like the aspect of, for a long while, Batman's really not the focus of the episode. I mean, he's the focus of the episode in that it's about the task force going, and Bullock and Flash going to extreme lengths to not just catch him, but to get control. But also, yeah, it's a really like how out of control it gets. It reminded me a lot of that one Daredevil episode where he and the informant or whoever are trapped in the building, and he has like the phone conversation with Fisk.
Yes.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of that, where it's kind of a closed off sort of situation and things of that nature, and the hero has to really pull on resources in order to get out of it. I really like the moving target one, where it had onomatopoeia showed up.
Yes. Okay, now
I know you have something about onomatopoeia, at least.
Onomatopoeia is the dumbest villain of all time. I'm sorry, Kevin Smith. Onomatopoeia sucks. It's just like I get where
he's coming from.
Like, yeah, like I get the idea of it. It's just like there's no way to do that. Pew 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 pew. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I was curious when onomatopoeia shows up. Like, what's Max gonna think of this execution of the character?
No, it's not onomatopoeia's fault. He is a D-level villain. Like, it's not his fault. The concept of it is so abstract that there's no way to pull it off.
It also kind of only works on the comic page because it's about comic book sound effects and things like that.
Yes. Like, I was really surprised because I thought that onomatopoeia was Deadshot. I was like, okay, that's a kind of interesting Deadshot design, and he's not. And that's
the way I thought they were going to go too. Was that this hitman task force comes to town? I think they're targeting Barbara, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And it was basically she's ruffled the feathers of the mob and stuff, and so they bring in these.
I really liked how they did it as far as Barbara's story arc.
Oh yeah, that's what I liked about the episode was the whole it's ragtag group of people like hiding out from hitmen basically.
Yeah.
And they have to basically like again wall up in a situation on their own. And the subversion of a character there really took me by surprise because that's a Jim Corrigan. That took me by surprise because in regular DC lore, he's the Spectre.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. I completely missed that.
And also there was like maybe there were hints here and there, but I'll have to rewatch it again. But I didn't anticipate that happening.
No, and he lives, right? He doesn't. Yeah. Okay. So I mean,
he lives.
I don't know,
well, we're spoilers already. He lives, but he's revealed to like be in on wanting to collect the bounty on her.
Right. Oh yeah, he's a bad guy, but
in prior episodes, that's what I like is they built up in prior episodes like he's better than Flash and Bullock, or appears to be better than Flash and Bullock.
I thought he was a good cop. Like that was I thought that turn was really cool. Because I was surprised. I was like, oh snap! Like that dude we all thought he was a stand-up guy. Like, so that was really good. But I liked that, like the dude in jail is like, no, I put a hit out on this lawyer because she didn't do enough for me.
Right.
And for Barbara, like I really like where that hit home for her. Like what they showed us is she's like, well, I mean, like I did everything I could for you. You're a criminal.
Yeah.
Like
and that was a cool moment of like, is this something that she's going to proceed with into the rest of the show, in future seasons, if there are future seasons? Is this going to be about her like coming to terms with like, can I work in this system anymore, really? And does that mean that she might take a turn, say, on the vigilante side?
I'm very, very interested to see if they give Batman any
Partners.
Partners. Because like they've done a really good job of adding all of his partners in, but having them not be anywhere near his circle or even on his radar. And I like that, because I mean, like, if it was going to be anyone, I would like it to be this Barbara Gordon, because she's older, she's like able to make the decision to do this thing, and she's had the most training and stuff like that.
She has a knowledge of the system, how it works, and that could be advantageous to him.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So I feel like if they're going to do any sidekick for Batman, she would be the go-to for me. But because they didn't say Dick Grayson, but they called him Little Dicky. So like if they do the Graysons, that's going to be kind of. I feel like now that'd be a little hard. And
every season he'll drop by Leslie Tompkins' orphanage.
Yeah, like, just pick out a new one. Like,
pick out a new
I need
one.
I need a fresh sidekick here. Who's young and spry?
How convenient that they're all at the same Gotham orphanage.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Let me get 3 of them.
Came pre-traumatized. What did you think of? I mean, it's kind of expected at this point with a Batman project where there is no Joker that you're going to have a Joker tease. What'd you think of the Joker tease?
I liked it. I was like, all right, season 2. Like they know what to do to get you in for season 2. I feel like that was the best thing to do. I like that they kind of left the Joker out of it.
Yeah.
Because he's the big one. He's the one that everyone's waiting for to subvert us in another way. They're like, no Joker. Like that's
I'm curious, definitely, because I like seeing the Joker in Batman stuff, obviously, and so hopefully they do something really good with him in the second season. I just don't know if I really needed a tease, because at that point I knew it was coming. That was the thing, is I went into the show, I'm like, they're gonna tease the Joker at the end of this season. I just feel it in my bones. They've been doing that since Batman Begins. Every Batman project, I feel like the Batman had a Joker tease close to the end.
Yep.
It's like. And so I just kind of expected at this point, if there is no outright mention of the Joker right away in the show or in the movie, I'm going to be like, he's going to show up at the end.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much like, it wasn't like I'm not interested in seeing the Joker in this world. It's more like, I just expect the Joker tease now. I'm kind of over that. But other than that, I thought overall it was a really solid first season.
Yeah. No, the one thing we didn't talk about, Batmobile.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about your favorite aspect of the car. What'd you think of this Batmobile?
This Batmobile is dope. I'm here for it. It's got throwback to animated series Batmobile, but also it's its own thing. I really, really like it. This is up in the upper tier Batmobiles, I would say.
Yep. And especially for the era, too, where you're not going to have anything too sleek and futuristic looking. Because the animated series obviously could get away with that design, because the world, it's a timeless kind of thing. It's a little bit of the retro, a little bit of the future, a little bit of contemporary. Here, where you're clearly set in the 40s and really leaning into that aesthetic more so than anything else. Yeah, that design worked. Overall, the design of the world and the vehicles and the characters, I think, really complement what they were going for, which is... yeah, literally a throwback to crime noir stuff.
Right. So. So I really dug it. I'm gonna say I'll give that Batmobile probably 8 Chatterangs. Like
Eight Chatterangs out of 10.
Yeah, out of 10. It's solid. I dig it. If I could take that one home, I would. Like that's
What is a character that wasn't teased, or or wasn't given just a little bit of face time, and we know is going to come back? What's a character that you would like to see them just introduce whole cloth from the mythos in next season? Because I know we got teases, we got all those orphans,
Yeah.
we got Joker, and we got some other characters that I recognize names of here and there that I'm like, they could become somebody. But what's someone that if they just dropped them into the second season, you think would be a solid entry?
I would like to see Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze?
Yeah, I think that would be pretty interesting, and they could do something fun with that.
Cool. Mine is kind of a toss-up between either Ra's al Ghul, but I feel like that would, if they're building on the mob story, maybe introducing a character like that might be a little too big right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then since they have done some more supernatural monster type stuff already, Man-Bat. Like, what would a Man-Bat in the 40s kind of look like?
Yeah, Man-Bat would be dope. I'm down for that too. Like, let's go. Let's hopefully they just keep on getting able to make this cartoon, so we get eventually we just get the whole rogues gallery. But it's anyone. I'm not gonna be with what I've seen so far. I don't think I'd be mad or sad at anyone.
Yeah.
I would say like bring all the toys in, but
Sure.
So I mean, I think Mr. Freeze would be fun, but again, whoever, bring them all in. Let's do it.
Out of 10 Chatterangs, I guess, how many would you give the first season?
I'm gonna give this first season 6.5 to 7 Chatterangs. It's solid. It's a solid base. It's got me in, but I mean, I feel like there are definitely some things they could do better.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely worth watching. Definitely a lot of fun. But yeah, there's just some things that a little more money, a little bigger budget might fix, and then if they want to work, just have a little better quality.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. 7 out of 10 for me. I think there's some really great like groundwork laid for these characters and these takes on the characters. I like the Batman performance a lot. Hamish Linklater, I think, is a great Batman and Bruce Wayne, and everyone else in the cast does a fantastic job. You just got to give this show more money for the animation.
Yeah, man. This is not like Nickelodeon. This isn't friggin' what's the dog show? the puppy, whatever the stupid
Bluey?
dog. No, not Bluey. Like where there's a cop dog and a firefighter dog.
Oh, yeah, I don't. Paw Patrol, is that what that
Paw
is?
Patrol. Yes,
Paw
this
Patrol.
is not Paw Patrol. Okay, you gotta throw some money at it.
Yeah.
But that's like my really only major critique. Everything else is done very, very well.
And I mean, overall, like we mentioned earlier, like the design of the world really works, and the animation's it's functional. It just could be a little bit snazzier. I think you draw in like a lot more eyeballs with some snazzier like action sequences.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that episode of Invincible definitely kind of is living in my head rent free now. Whenever I watch these types of shows,
Yes.
every time they kind of pan over a crowd, I'm like, yep, no one's moving, but because we're panning, it looks like we're moving. It's all good.
So sorry.
It's all good.
Okay.
Dogs will be dogs.
Freak out too much. All right, let's get this thing done. But it's the cheap little things that they shed a light on. Yeah, and again, like you said, lives rent free in there. Like now you can't not think it's like, oh, hey, look, there's a thing that they do to save money. Like that's
Yep. But I mean, the show works fine. It still works really well. It's just help it out a little bit more next season.
Yeah, guys, like you got something here. You got something. Like let's act like it. For sure. So I'm happy with it. I'm happy that there's something to be happy about. Like this, just for the longest time now, I feel like I've just been falling off. I haven't been reading the comics, but I've been kind of like paying attention to some of the storylines, and there's just some craziness going on with Batman right now.
Yeah, and after almost 80 years, like we're coming up on that. Like,
hey, maybe maybe leave it alone. I don't, I don't know how long. Like, if there's ever been a time where they haven't been running a Batman, but like,
Nah, they can't leave it alone, man.
if you need to take a breather, man, take a breather. Like, don't.
Oh, they can't. They can't. Zaslav needs to hang on to as much stuff as he can before he gets rid of it all.
Oh yeah. Before he himself shit cans everything. No, it's
I got it. I am glad this is on Amazon. Amazon will actually let things stay on there for
right.
like,
yeah, goodness sake. Yeah,
like,
next week we're gonna be like, Cape Crusader, what are you talking about?
yeah. I love my adventures with Superman, but I fear for it being on Max. Like I fear for a lot of my favorite shows being on Max because they can be gone
at any time
at
for
any
no
time.
reason at all. But no, this is solid. So hopefully they realize that, and hopefully enough people get involved and get saying good things. Like, it's I really enjoyed it. This did take me back to my Batman the Animated Series days, in a way, that I was very, I found it very fun. So
it was a little bit of animated series, a little bit, like I said, of Fleischer Superman stuff, and also, did you ever? They had that podcast out, the Batman Radio Adventures. They had Jeffrey Wright as Batman, and they had a whole bunch of people, come in as. They had Brett Spiner came back as a Joker, but his take on the Joker is much better than Young Justice.
Okay.
And also it's just all audio too. But like it reminded me a lot of that, like a radio play a little bit, which I guess fits the aesthetic because it's 40s and stuff. Radio is a big thing, so no, I kind of dug that vibe it was giving me. But yeah, definitely a lot of loving kind of traits from the animated series passed on here.
Yeah, and a lot of fun twists. I definitely like all the little tweaks that they made to to make it their own universe and their own thing going on. So I am appreciative of all of the creative efforts so far.
So keep doing what you're doing, Bruce Timm, Matt Reeves, and J.J. Abrams, and Brubaker, and all those folks. And yeah, thank you for Cape Crusader.
Indeed. Cape Crusader is awesome, and you listeners or watchers and listeners are also awesome. Make sure you like and subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and we will see you same chat time, same chat channel, McGTV, YouTube.com.
Nice deal. Oh man, I am a little hungover from last night still.